Can you give some examples of some of the testimonies that you collected that first come to mind of some of the soldiers that have given testimonies?
Wow, again, I've been doing it for a while now. I already personally collected more than 100, so that's choosing one.
Or a few, yeah, whatever.
Choosing subject, you know, like there are so many different issues that we think about. All right, I'll give you an example from the last testimony that I collected. It was also from another infantry unit, and the soldier was stationed in a checkpoint next to Tulkarm. And he was already the sergeant, the commander of the soldiers that were stationed there. And they were told to close, pretty much close the south entrance to Tulkarm. Because they were told that there is, that the intelligence are saying that a suicide bomber is supposed to cross from Tulkarm to the south. So they have to pretty much close down Tulkarm and check everybody who wants to drive south. And they tried doing it. The only problem was that they were 4 soldiers and there were hundreds of cars crossing through this road. So there was a huge line, like as far as the eye could see, of cars waiting to cross. Now at some point, Mahsom Watch, if you heard about them, it's very brave women that go to checkpoints around the West Bank and basically monitor the behavior of the soldiers, Israeli women. And by the way, they are, in the eyes of the soldiers, these women are worse than the Palestinian terrorists. It's like they are the enemy in your eyes because they're harassing you and asking a lot of questions and annoying and calling your commanders and giving you a lot of trouble in doing your job. And that's what they were doing in this checkpoint in Tulkarm, and obviously the soldiers got very angry with this group of women. And at one point, one of these women called the brigade commander, a very high-rank officer, and asked him, how can it be, like, people can't get out of Tulkarm, there are hundreds of cars waiting here. So he called the soldier and told him, listen, check them quicker and let them through. So the soldier told this officer, he told him, listen, I can either let them through or I can check the cars. Because if there is a bomb in one of these cars, it wouldn't be on the back seat. It will be somewhere hidden. So it will take me a lot of time to check every car if this is my mission. It was very sensible what the soldier was saying. He was telling him, don't tell me to do my job wrong. If you want me to check, I'll check. If not, then not. So the officer thought for a few minutes and then told him, you know what? Open the checkpoint and let them through. Like this. He opened the checkpoints, hundreds of cars crossed. Like all the cars that were trying to get out of Tulkarm, get out of Tulkarm. The women of Mahsom Watch leave, and then this general gets on the radio again and tells him, did you let them through? Yes. Did the Mahsom Watch women go? Yes. Okay. Back to the way it was before. Closed it, the checkpoint is closed again. Every car that wants to go through, you have to check. Them. So, I mean, the story here is that it shows that how in many of the occasions, like, it makes no sense the way that things are being done. I mean, there is always a military excuse to what you're doing. I mean, I was in exactly the same circumstances in other places, in other times. This story, by the way, happened 3 years ago. It wasn't even in the peak years of the Second Intifada. Like, you're standing in a checkpoint, you are told, listen, you have suicide bombers, so of course you're doing your job as hard as it is for the Palestinians, because you're telling yourself, well, it's horrible that some soldiers, not obviously a lot of soldiers don't care about this aspect. But I was telling myself, like, well, I have to be here. I mean, because maybe it's taking them 2 hours to cross the checkpoint. But if this is what it takes in order to protect my family in Haifa, then I'll do it. But then when you hear something like that, like this, you feel like an idiot, because then you see that a lot of these things that have nothing to do with security. And in many ways, the gap here that I'm talking about is sometimes even between, sometimes even the soldiers are on the side of the people that don't know what they're doing. I mean, a lot of the things that I was doing in South Hebron Hills or in Hebron, only after I was discharged and I started reading the reports by, I don't know, by human rights organizations or appeals to the Supreme Court, I suddenly understood that a lot of the things that I was doing were very political. They had nothing to do with security. They had to do with areas that the military wishes to annex. Not the military, the government wishes to annex, and other issues like that. I mean, I was closing down the road, the main roads, Highway 60, the highway right here, and Highway 317, that pretty much are the main roads in South Hebron Hills, because I was told that Palestinians use these roads in order to do drive-by shootings. And they were sometimes, so it made sense. But only after I was discharged, one of the human rights organizations made a report about the system of separating the roads, and the response of the military was denial. They were saying that this road in this area that I was serving in was never closed. When I read that, I didn't know what to do, because during all of my service I was telling myself, well, maybe I don't agree with what I'm doing, but this is not my place to decide. I'm a soldier. I'm supposed to do what I'm told. In the end, if I'll refuse, then people from the, right wing would refuse, for example, to evict settlements, and they do. So I'm not going to be the one who's going to open this Pandora box. This is the public's job to decide on the policy. But then when I realized that even the public is being lied to about the things that the government or the military are uncomfortable with, then how can they make this sensible decision? They don't know the facts. So again, this brings me back to this whole issue, this importance of bringing the facts. Again, even if we're not offering a political solution, we believe that people have no idea what's the cost of controlling the West Bank.